The morning sun cast long shadows across the cracked sidewalk as Marcus Thompson locked the community center doors behind him. At 52, his 6'4" frame still carried the disciplined build from his 20 years in Special Forces. Deep laugh lines framed his eyes, contrasting with the stern set of his jaw. 5 years into civilian life, Marcus had traded his Delta Force command for directing the East Pine Community Center, finding purpose in mentoring local youth rather than conducting classified operations. His military past remained unknown to most neighbors, who simply saw a dedicated black man working tirelessly to provide safe spaces in a neighborhood struggling with poverty and racial tensions. Marcus adjusted his backpack, feeling the familiar weight of responsibility as he headed home, unaware that today's walk would require skills he'd hoped to leave behind. Marcus took his usual shortcut through Willow Park, appreciating the burst of green amid urban concrete. The path narrowed as he approached the north exit, where a group of 5 men loitered beneath the shade of an ancient oak. They wore matching red bandanas, the Crimson Fists, a gang known for targeting black residents. Marcus straightened his shoulders, maintaining his steady pace. No detour, no showing fear. "Well, look who's walking through our park," sneered Ryan, the tallest one with a jagged scar across his cheek. The others formed a semicircle, blocking the exit. Marcus kept his expression neutral, eyes scanning for weaknesses, an old habit. "Afternoon, gentlemen. Just passing through. Public park, huh?" Ryan stepped forward, deliberately bumping Marcus's shoulder. "Seems you didn't get the message. Some places aren't meant for everyone." Marcus felt his pulse quicken but kept his breathing measured. 20 years of combat had taught him to recognize true threats. These men were dangerous, but not because they were skilled, because they were unpredictable. "I don't want trouble," Marcus stated firmly, voice calm despite the slur Ryan had muttered under his breath. The atmosphere shifted instantly. The gang closed ranks, forming a tight circle around Marcus. A stocky man with a neck tattoo, Dex, spat on the ground near Marcus's boots. "You deaf? Ryan told you this ain't your place," Dex growled. "Your kind don't belong here." Marcus remained motionless, eyes methodically assessing each man, stance, posture, concealed weapons. His mind calculated distances, angles, reaction times, automatic tactical analysis from thousands of combat situations. "I'm just heading home," Marcus replied evenly. "No need for this to escalate." A younger gang member laughed sharply. "Listen to him talk. All proper and shit. Think you're better than us?" Ryan circled slowly, like a predator. "Community center guy, right? Acting all high and mighty, helping the neighborhood? We know what you're really doing, trying to change things that ain't meant to change." "Bet he's soft as butter," another taunted, misreading Marcus's calm demeanor for weakness. "Probably never been in a real fight." Marcus almost smiled at the irony. The man had no idea he was mocking someone who'd led extraction missions in war zones while under heavy fire, someone who could incapacitate all 5 of them in seconds if necessary. "Last chance," Ryan hissed, pulling a switchblade from his pocket with practiced flair. "Turn around, or we'll make sure you never walk through here again." The knife glinted in the afternoon sun as Ryan took another step closer, his face contorted with hatred. Marcus felt time slow down, a familiar sensation from combat. His training took over. "I said, I don't want trouble," Marcus repeated, voice dropping an octave. "Put the knife away." Ryan lunged forward with surprising speed, blade slashing toward Marcus's abdomen. In a fluid motion that belied his size, Marcus sidestepped, caught Ryan's wrist mid-thrust, and applied precise pressure to the radial nerve. The knife clattered to the pavement as Ryan howled in pain. Before the others could react, Marcus had twisted Ryan's arm behind his back, using him as a human shield. The movement was so swift, so controlled, that the gang stood frozen in confusion. "What the?" Dex started forward but stopped abruptly as Marcus shifted his stance. "I wouldn't," Marcus warned calmly. "Your friend here is one wrong move away from a dislocated shoulder." The younger gang member reached toward his waistband, but Marcus's voice cut through the tension. "That gun in your pants, you won't clear the holster before I put 3 of you down. Think carefully." Shock registered on their faces, not just at being outmaneuvered, but at Marcus's accurate assessment of their concealed weapon. "Who the hell are you?" gasped Ryan, wincing as Marcus maintained the joint lock with minimal effort. "Someone who's seen enough violence to last several lifetimes," Marcus answered. "Someone who knows exactly how this ends if you make the wrong choice." His voice remained steady, almost conversational. "I've given you courtesy you didn't extend to me. Now we're going to de-escalate this situation, understood?" The authority in his voice, the unmistakable command presence honed through years leading elite soldiers, penetrated their hostility. One by one, the gang members stepped back, uncertainty replacing their previous bravado. Police sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. A jogger had witnessed the confrontation and called 911. 2 patrol cars pulled up to the park entrance, officers emerging with hands hovering near their holsters. "Everyone stay where you are," commanded Officer Peterson. Surveying the scene, Marcus slowly released Ryan, stepping back with hands visible. "Officers, these gentlemen were just leaving. We had a misunderstanding." The youngest gang member broke first. He attacked Ryan. "We didn't do nothing." "That's not what our witness reported," Peterson replied, nodding toward the jogger speaking with his partner. Ryan rubbed his wrist, glaring at Marcus. Then, surprisingly, he laughed, a bitter sound. "You know why we really targeted you, Thompson? Not just because you're black. Because you've been helping those kids stay out of our recruitment pipeline." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "What? Your community center, giving teenagers something better to do than join us. Bad for business." Ryan's facade cracked momentarily. "My little brother started going there last month. Came home talking about college applications. About futures." Officer Peterson stepped forward. "Ryan Donovan, you're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon." As the officers handcuffed the gang members, Ryan locked eyes with Marcus. "You're fighting a war you don't even know you're in, soldier." Marcus stood perfectly still, wondering how much Ryan actually knew about his past. The community center buzzed with activity 3 days later. News of the confrontation had spread quickly, and what Marcus expected to be backlash instead became a rallying point. Residents from all backgrounds gathered in the main hall, many meeting each other for the first time despite living blocks apart. "I never knew this place existed," admitted Sandra Chen, whose family owned the corner grocery often vandalized by the Crimson Fists. "Now my sons want to join the after-school program." The district attorney approached Marcus during the impromptu community meeting. "We're pressing charges against all 5 men. Ryan's cooperating, giving us information about their operations." Marcus nodded. "What about Ryan's brother? Jason?" "He's here, actually." The DA pointed to a teenager setting up chairs. "Said something about wanting to help." Mayor Williams took the podium, voice commanding attention. "What happened in Willow Park wasn't just an attack on Mr. Thompson. It was an attack on our community's values." She paused, scanning the diverse crowd. "But look at us now, united, planning, taking back our neighborhood. Sometimes it takes one person standing firm to remind us all how to stand together." The room erupted in applause as Marcus reluctantly joined the mayor at the microphone. For the first time in years, genuine hope filled the community center, not just talk of change, but its living embodiment. Marcus sat alone in his office, staring at the framed photo of his Delta Force team. The incident had forced him to reconcile 2 parts of himself he'd tried to keep separate. On his desk lay a proposal, Community Guardians, a safety program combining neighborhood watch with conflict resolution training. Former military veterans and community elders would teach de-escalation tactics alongside self-defense. The program had already received city funding and unexpected support from Ryan's family. "Sometimes the battles choose you," Marcus murmured, signing the document. He'd spent years fighting in distant lands, but this, protecting hope in his own neighborhood, felt like his most important mission yet. As he gazed out the window at teenagers playing basketball, Marcus realized that true strength wasn't in concealing his past, but in using every part of his journey to forge a better future.